People, what's going on? What's going on? Your boy Bobby from Mentourme.com. Shouts out to everybody that's always supporting the movement. Well, also too, shouts out to everybody else on my live last night. We had a great relationship topic. We were discussing reasons why men get used. Again, I always every Thursday night on my podcast have open discussions on topics that again it's called the paying for truth that some people are uncomfortable about, whatever the case may be. And we sometimes talk about life topics. As you guys know, every Tuesday night, we talk about financial topics, or sometimes I interview a local entrepreneur to let you hear their journey. What is it that they do? How do they make their money? And again, what made them take the risk to becoming successful? All right, guys, I want you guys to understand, man, this is a topic that a lot of people don't usually talk about. And this is actually true to a certain degree. As you guys know, I'm a life coach. I'm a commercial realtor. I also do residential real estate. I'm an investor, an entrepreneur, a life coach, motivational speaker, all that good stuff, right? But the reason I have these topics is to bring awareness so we could be more knowledgeable on what's going on in this world today. Is it true to believe that a home is not for everybody? That's today's topic. Everybody's not meant to own a home. And I'm going to tell you a lot of reasons why, okay? We have this world, and I get it. A lot of us are in this world where they tell us, look, just buy a house. You need to buy a house. And you even hear me preach a lot. Buy a house. It's the most important thing next to, of course, building a family, love, and marriage, all that good stuff, right? But here's the problem. A lot of us, we don't realize number one, we're not responsible. In order to own a home, you have to be responsible. In order to own a home, you have to be responsible in a lot of areas. Financial responsibility. You also have to be responsible as a leader when you're owning a home, no matter if you live by yourself or if you live with other people. And we're going to talk about why. Because we got to first think about this for a moment, okay? You're buying a $400,000 home, okay? Which in this world today, if you're in the Tri-County area, if you're in Florida, a $400,000 home doesn't really get you much. But you're buying a $400,000 home, you're putting 3.5% down. Let's just make the math easy. Let's bring it down to a $100,000 home, okay? Which doesn't even exist in Florida, I'll tell you that, when it comes to the Tri-County area. Tri-County meaning Miami, West Palm, Beach, of course, Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, these type of areas, right? That would mean you need 3.5% down, which is a FHA, where the government's going to give you the other 96.5%, right? You would need at least $3,500 down. So if it's a $200,000 home, obviously you just double the number. You need $7,000. And if it's a $300,000 home, you need 3.5% times 3, okay, which is roughly like maybe, $10,000 down. Here's where we have a problem, right? A lot of us, we're so accustomed to renting, right? Where maintenance is free. All you do is put your first and last or first, last in security. When it comes to buying a home, not only do you need 3.5% down, 5% down, 10%, 20% if you're going conventional, you also have to have what we call closing costs. So here's the misperception about buying a home. They make it seem like if you just buy a home, your life is going to be much smoother. It depends on your living condition and what are you looking for. Yes, there is a lot of value in owning homes. Yes, we know that you could rent the home out. That's a great way of making passive income. You could also, if the home starts to appreciate more than what you purchased it for, you could pull out money from the home. You could pull out what we call the equity of the home, which is simply the difference of what you purchased the property for compared to what it's currently worth from when you bought it. So you bought the home hypothetically at $300,000. 3 years later, it's worth $600,000. You could leverage 80% of that $600,000, right? Sometimes even 90%, okay? Here's the honest truth, right? A lot of us need to understand buying homes takes a mature person mindset. Because you got to really think about it. A lot of us barely have $1,000 saved, which is sad. To imagine to buy a home, you need sometimes $10,000 to $15,000 down, meaning this is money you're going to invest into your new home that you are not going to see. Because the reality is a home is generational wealth. A home at the same time is debt. A home at the same time is an asset. And I'm going to explain to you. When you buy a home, you're like, well, Bobby, how is it an asset and how is it debt? It's debt because the truth is if you didn't buy it cash, you owe somebody money. And the somebody is usually a lender, right? So it is a liability. Sorry about that. To that degree. When you bought the home, you don't actually own it all the way. you actually owe somebody a balance to continuously pay off the home. So it is a liability. But when we say asset, where does the asset aspect come from? A lot of us need to understand, like I said earlier in the video, at the end of the day, you bought a home for $300,000. 3, 4, 5 years later, it's worth $600,000. You could actually go to the bank and pull out what we call a home equity line of credit of 80% of that $600,000. And now that home that is a liability is now an asset to you, because now you're able to probably pull out maybe $480,000 minus whatever your mortgage is. Let's say your mortgage is $300,000. You could pull out maybe $180,000 to invest into something. And the reason that's important is because a lot of us, we go into this world, you're going to hear a lot of people tell you, go buy a home. You need a home. It's the best thing ever. Yes, it has its pros and its cons. The problem is a lot of us were not mature enough to understand, or we're not in a financial position to afford a home. And that's where we got to really think about our decision. Because homes come with something that you got to think about a lot: maintenance. This is something a lot of people don't talk about. Buying a home ain't just your hardest part for some of you. Some of you are having a hard time buying a condo, putting 5% down, 10% down, 20% down. For a condo, that's $100,000. For a condo, that's $200,000. What you got to understand, buying a home, there is no HOA. There's nobody helping you maintenance the home. See, when my roof of my house went out, that was $34,000 cash. That's just what it is. For some of you, this is why, of course, you should have insurance on your home. But insurance is funny, too. These companies play a lot of game, these home insurance companies, right? They insure your home. But if you file a claim to fix something of your home, your insurance goes skyrocket for life. So sometimes you got to learn how to maintenance your home without filing a claim. That's just the reality. But here's the thing, right? Imagine what everyday person just has $34,000 to go put a new roof. But that's not done. Hypothetically, you have a house, your garage door goes out or it's rotten. A new garage door could be anywhere from $3,000 to, well, it depends on how high end you want to go. $15,000, $20,000 for a garage door. Let's not even talk about the plumbing issues you're going to have having a house. If you have a home, you're almost guaranteed to eventually get a plumbing issue. And do not let the plumbing issue be at night, because these plumbers love when you call them at night, because they're going to triple charge you. Let me tell you a funny story, okay? I had a plumbing issue at 1 o'clock in the morning at one of my properties, right? And the plumbing, the water was leaking so bad, I had to get that plumber out there 1 o'clock in the morning. The plumber, just to come out, was $500, okay? And find where is it leaking. To fix the problem, the plumber said he needs $9,000. People, and we're talking pipes that probably cost $15. You're probably wondering, where's the rest of the money? Labor. And the reason I'm having this live, people, we're having this live to understand a home is not meant for everybody at certain parts of life. Because we're always preaching to people, own a home, but hold on. Some people can't afford the maintenance of a home, just like some people can't afford the maintenance of a car that they're driving. You can't afford the maintenance of a home. Don't rush into ownership until you're ready. Because when you buy a home, especially a residential home, without HOA, for a lot of you that don't understand what HOA is, I'm not trying to critique anybody or downplay anybody. If you own a townhouse, if you're in a condo, usually there's a governing body. What that governing body does is you're going to pay a monthly fee. And pretty much because that governing body, of course, governs wherever you stay, that monthly fee covers usually the outside dwelling, which is the structure of your home. It covers maintenance, which is cutting your grass for you, because there's not a lot of grass you usually have in a condo or townhouse. So that sometimes it also covers your water bill. It also covers your cable. That's called HOA fee. But when you get out of that whole condo and townhouse lifestyle and come into a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom residential home, people, it's not for the weak. Owning a home takes a level of maturity. You have to understand, number one, you should be saving money to even buy a home. Buying a home is one thing. Making sure you have enough money to make sure if something goes wrong and to furnish the home is another. This is things I think a lot of realtors should be talking about. Not only teaching people how to buy a home, understanding how to manage their money to live within that home and not lose the home. Because again, buying a home is one step. And it's not an easy step for some of us. Because not everybody got $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 to go put down to buy a house. And then after buying the house, you still have to, of course, furnish the house. Then after furnishing the house, of course, your inspector, before you bought the home, looked through the wires, went through the roof, look at the outside. Okay, well, the home passed. Here's my $500. Have a nice day. At the end of the day, people, when you start living in that home, there's going to be a lot of things breaking. That's just the reality. If you're not buying a newly developed home, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not interested in newly developed home because I already know what the prices are like. I'm not interested. I like my used homes, and I'm going to take care of it on my side based on the maintenance level I like to maintenance my homes. Because I'm going to tell you this. The reason we're having this discussion, nobody talks about what's the hard part about owning a home. One is you have to learn how to manage your money. Because emergencies will happen all the time. From roofing, electrical problems, plumbing problems, drywall problems. People, I'm telling you, for a lot of you that's rushing in, you're rushing to buy a home, make sure you understand what comes with maintenance in a home. It sounds so good. It looks so good. But you understand, for the next 30 years of your life, you owe a mortgage for the next 30 years of your life. And the only way to win the mortgage game is to make extra payments and pay it off early. It would be great if you win a lawsuit, just buy the house cash. It would be great if you had enough money to just keep saving and just pay off the house 20 years early. That's the only way you're going to win this mortgage game. Because I'm going to tell you one thing. Mortgages, I get it. It benefits you. It helps you. Why? Because if the home costs $400,000, not all of us have $400,000 or $500,000 or $700,000 cash, but some of us do have $20,000 down. Some of us have $30,000, $50,000. I get that part. But you want to see the most lucrative business in the world? Being a lender. These people put you in debt for 30 years of your life. Every month you owe them a mortgage payment. And 97% of that mortgage payment goes towards nothing. 3% probably goes towards principal. And some of you don't realize, instead of being so excited for these tax return checks, you should be paying down your principal. Because a lot of you don't understand. You're in debt for 30 years of your life. And if you're 30 years old, you're in debt by theory till 60 years old. And if you stop making payments for 3 months, you're already in pre-foreclosure. You stop making payments for 2 years, you already lost the property. So imagine you could have been paying this property for 15 years straight. You stop making payments for 2 years, you lost your property. The lender owns it back. They foreclosed on you. They sell it to the next individual. See, this video that we're talking about today is the understanding the negative components about owning a home. A home is not meant for everybody, because it comes with maintenance. If you are not a responsible adult, you should not be owning a home, my personal opinion. Maybe renting is better for you because it comes with free maintenance. You could call your maintenance department and they'll fix whatever issue you have for free because it's an apartment. But when it comes to owning a home, owning an asset, which is also a liability, owning an asset that requires maintenance. I got a pool in the back of my house. I'm going to tell you something. To resurface that pool, that was $8,000. Every week, I got a pool guy coming, $90 to $100, cleaning my pool, playing pool game. I barely use the pool. I'm probably spending $3,000 a year just to keep the pool clean. And don't let something go wrong with the pool. You'll blow an easy $2,000 playing around with pools all day long. Owning a home is a beautiful thing as long as your finances is in order. Owning a home makes sense as long as your finances is in order. Do not rush yourself into buying a home if you don't understand what comes with maintaining a home. Because if you're not buying a pre-developed home, and honestly, even if it's a pre-developed, there's still problems going to happen. Roof leaks, kitchen issues, pest control issues. These old homes all comes with issues. And again, as adults, we've been dealing with this for years. This is what life is. Maintenance in the home, owning a home. It is what it is. But for some of you, you have a hard time just managing an apartment, which you don't even do maintenance. You don't even have no savings in your account. This is what's crazy to me. If you're renting an apartment, you should be able to save as much money as possible because you have no maintenance. If you've been renting 5, 10 years, you have no savings. That tells me a lot about your money management. Because you're not maintaining the home. Where's your money going? Groceries, right? We all have groceries. Own a home or not, you got to have groceries. You have kids? Okay, cool. Daycare, after school care. You're not the first person to have daycare and after school care expenses. Everybody has that. Light bill, water bill, we all got that. And sometimes apartment light water bill is free. What I find funny is that this world makes it seem like buying a home is always the best thing. It depends on the person and the lifestyle of the person. Because some people don't even know how to maintenance or manage an apartment, which carries no maintenance. So how are you going to maintenance a home that has problems coming in the future? No matter how much of an inspection you do before buying a home, things will happen. I remember buying my first property. I think I'm on my third one right now, my third primary home, right? I think I was, 24 when I bought my first house. And then my second one I bought in Western. The first one was by Sawgrass. And I remember after the inspection, maybe 3 weeks later, I had to rewire the whole house. Electrical box was old, wire was wrong. That was about $7,000 to $10,000 right there. And y'all hear these numbers? These are real numbers. So for a lot of you, I'm not trying to scare you. Understand what you're getting into when you buy things in this world. No matter if it's a car, before you buy a Range Rover, before you buy a Land Rover, before you buy a Lamborghini truck, before you buy these expensive things, have you thought about the maintenance that goes behind these expensive things? Because we're quick to buy things and put ourselves in debt, but nobody talks about how do you maintenance it. A lot of people today don't have money management skills. And you have this world that programs you, go get a home. Yes, buy a home if you're ready to buy a home. Buy a home if you can afford to buy a home. Buy a home if you know if you know what comes with maintenance in a home. I love homes. I think they're a great asset, but they're also a liability. Because if you have a mortgage on a home, every month you have to make a payment to somebody that probably has their legs up in their office, drinking coffee, and that payment that you're making is called a mortgage. And every time you make that mortgage payment, 97% of it goes nowhere. Except in that person's pocket that has their legs up that gave you the loan, which is AKA called the lender. 3% goes towards principal. See, this system has boxed us in for a long time. You buy a home for $400,000, hypothetically, they tell you, oh my God, your mortgage payment is $1,800. Wow, all I owe is $400,000. No, you don't. 1,800 times 12 months times 30 years is not $400,000. When you do the math, it's probably maybe $800,000. You probably owe double the price of the home if you take 30 years to pay that house off. And the problem is a lot of people go into buying homes without even understanding that. Do you understand buying a home is not just putting down your down deposit? There's also something called closing costs. So if you're buying a home, I don't know, FHA 3.5%, I don't know, on a $400,000 home, roughly that's $16,000 just down. That's down deposit. You still got closing cost. Then when you buy the home, you're not done yet. You still have to furnish the home. And then when you buy the home and furnish it, you're not done yet. You still have to keep up with maintenance while paying a mortgage. See, a lot of us, we don't like to talk about this aspect. All we talk about is owning a home. Everybody should own a home. I get it. It's a great asset / liability. But at the end of the day, everybody does not know what comes with owning a home. It comes with maintenance. Last year alone, I think I spent maybe $45,000 with maintenance of my home. We're talking roof, we're talking garage door, we're talking plumbing issue. It's always there. My other property, maybe $10,000 on that one. Another one, homes come with maintenance. And on top of that, we haven't even talked about the main event, which is true. You bought a home. You're excited. Congratulations. The realtor made their 6%, 3% commission, whatever. They're excited too because everybody got goddamn paid, okay? And I'm a realtor. I'm an investor. I get it. I do commercial sales. I get it. I understand real estate very well. But at the same time, nobody talked to you about you have a light bill that's coming at you every month. You don't just have a mortgage. Which your mortgage is what? PITI, principal, insurance, tax, and interest. You also have your light bill that you got to pay, your water bill. And if you got a pool, you better know that water bill going to be real. You got groceries. You got your car payment, health insurance, life insurance. Oh, yes. Daycare if you got kids, after school care if you got kids. You got some real expenses. There ain't nobody babysitting you. You got landscaping. My man, my landscaper, I love him. He just builds me. I don't even remember when he be coming. But he does his thing. I used to cut the grass myself. Then I said, man, I'm not going to lie. I'm so not interested in cutting the grass myself because it's just too much work. You got to look at the time value of money when it comes to landscaping. I see some men, they like to cut grass. To me, it's not worth it to me to sit here in the hot sun, cut grass, when I can pay a person maybe $150 for the month. They cut my grass every 2 weeks or whatever the case may be. It's the time value of money. But the reason I'm having this live to have people understand, before you buy a home, before you buy any expensive asset or liability, understand what's the maintenance. You buy a home, especially if it doesn't have an HOA. As you guys know, what usually has HOAs is a condo or a townhome. You better understand buying a home is not a joke. Homes come with maintenance. There's always something going to break. Your money better be tight when it comes to saving before you buy a home. And it's a great thing to have because let me give you guys, again, the assets, the pros about owning a home. Some of the people that I assisted in helping buy a home 2-3 years ago, their home is up $200,000, $150,000 more than what they paid. And right now, a lot of them are selling and cashing out $150,000, $200,000 in 2 years, 3 years. Profit. Imagine you bought something for $300,000. And now that something is worth $500,000 in 24 months. You sold it, gave the bank back their $300,000. You profited $200,000 in 2 years. Where else do you do that? A house is probably the only thing as a cultured skin brother as myself can understand, other than stocks and crypto and stuff like that. A lot of you need to understand, I'm not trying to scare you away from buying a home, but all I want you to do is understand is being aware of what comes with a home. Buying a home is not just having a down deposit. You need to have closing costs. Nowadays, based on the price of the home, if you're going $300,000 to $700,000, it could be anywhere from, on the low side, if you're lucky, $15,000 to $100,000 based on what's the price of the home. And that's just buying the home. Then you got to furnish the home. Then you got to maintenance the home. Yeah, before you buy a home, you're going to hear realtors tell you, we have an inspector. They're the best people. And an inspector come to your house. They look through the house for maybe an hour, if that, get paid $500. You're not going to catch every problem in 1 hour. When you buy that home, you live in that home, you put them lights on, you put that water on, you using the amenities of that home, you're going to now see what's wrong with the home. Homes are a great asset to create a lot of wealth. And a lot of you that's scared to buy homes knowing you have the money, that doesn't make sense. If your credit is good, you have the money, invest into a home. Eventually, invest into a second home and rent it out. Because I'm going to keep saying this. The goal of life is to create passive income. Having people pay you rent. A lot of you right now, the reason you're working so hard, you don't own nothing. Some of you have been living all your life, 30, 25, 45 years old. All you own is a car. It's embarrassing. Some of you don't like to hear the truth, huh? Now, I get it. I'm also on this video saying at the same time, don't rush into owning a home until it's time. Manage your money first. Save your money. Because when it's time to buy a home, you have to be prepared. Because it's not just about the down deposit. It's not just about, of course, the closing costs. It's about furnishing your home. It's about making sure you're able to maintenance your home, because there will be roof leaks. There will be AC issues. There will be plumbing issues. There will be a mortgage in your email and your mailbox every 30 days. There will be a light bill every 30 days. There will be a phone bill, Comcast bill. These bills will be in your mailbox, in your email every day. People living life, you can't run away from bills. And for a lot of you that have been renting for 10 years now, I'm going to say this too, that doesn't make sense either. Some of you have this mindset where you're going to rent forever. So you're going to grow up in this world. How many people you know lived 100 years? Nowadays is not too common. So if you're 30 years old, 30% of your life is already gone. If you're 25 years old, 25% of your life is already gone. People, one thing we all got to get past is understanding that one day we're all not going to be here. That's just a reality. I hate to say it, but a lot of us don't like to understand that. But while living, you got to be the best you. While living, you got to make smart choices. Renting for 10 years is not a smart choice. That's a waste of money. At a certain point of you renting, because you're not maintaining the apartment that you're living in, you should have been saving money to own a home. Because we got grown adults right now, 40 years old, 45, 35, still think it's cool renting, living at their mama house, living in their mama apartment. That's embarrassing. But got the nicest car. That's all we know, huh? Got the nicest car, Mercedes. What's this? The Range Rover is the hottest thing out right now. If you got a Range, you just owe President Obama if you got a Range Rover, huh? When you look at how many I got a couple of students right now complaining how bad the Range Rover payments is. $2,200 a month, $1,600 a month. You paying a mortgage payment on a car that's going to be worth 80% less, maybe 5 years later when you're done paying off the car. Because these finance companies love to put you in debt for these cars for 5 years? It looks so good, right? When you get to the dealership, damn, I got a new Range Rover. It feels so good when you buy certain things that don't make sense, right? It's emotion. If you tell our culture, buy a Range Rover, buy a house. Damn, okay, I got $20,000. I got to buy something. Okay, damn, I know I need a house. I know this house could one day, I could leverage, pull equity out, maybe leverage maybe $200,000, $300,000. Nah, but I got to get this shiny paint, get this Range Rover. Then what happens is you go around your friends with your Range Rover. Oh my God, damn, you did him like that, sis? Damn, my boy, you got the green, the money green edition? Not realizing your boy and your sis, they're in debt for the next 5 years with some $1,500 to $2,000 a month payments. And if they lose their job, or if they lose what they're doing to make the payments, they're going to be in a real situation. A lot of us need to understand what life is all about. At a certain point of life, it's not about buying certain things. Because if your credit is good, you got good savings, you could buy pretty much anything. But where the problem comes about is after a while, you got to understand the maintenance component of certain things. That's why I'm like, for a lot of you that's rushing into buying a home, don't rush if you know you can't afford it. Take your time, save your money. As they say in the streets, stack your paper, stack your bread, stack your coins, whatever term you guys want to use, right? And then from there, it's time for you to invest into yourself and own an asset. And that asset is owning a home. But make sure when you're buying a home, you buy it in the best neighborhood. Because I see some of y'all want to buy houses in areas. Who would live there? Who told you? Why would you pick that city? But again, maybe the D schools that's around the city, or maybe the high thefts and robberies that's going on made you pick the city. Because one thing I tell my clients, I'm going to tell you right now, we don't negotiate cities. The city got to be a great city. I don't put my clients in no city that I wouldn't live in. You don't live in any city when you buy a house, especially when you're buying an asset that you're going to be in debt for 30 years. If you don't pay it off early, because the game is to pay it off early. And the only way you can pay it off early is, instead of enjoying your tax return check sometimes, put that towards your principal. And then do something called a recast. And we'll talk about that another day. I did a video on what is a recast. You can always go on YouTube and understand what is a recast. Today we're talking about the importance of understanding how to make better decisions when it comes to renting. Should you own a home? Should you rent an apartment? Where does it make more sense? Because again, owning a home is not for everybody. Because everybody doesn't understand the maintenance that comes with a home. But before you get into owning a home, which I do suggest you do eventually, and I hope you own several of them, because the goal is to have people paying you rent. A lot of people. You want a lot of people paying you rent. It feels so good when I go collect rent. It's like I'm Santa Claus in my car. Today is rent day. How's everything going? Great. You got that check? I love collecting rent. It's the best feeling. You everything good? You got that rent payment? People, you got to understand, life is beautiful as long as you understand how beautiful it can be. I'm not telling you guys don't own a home. I'm just saying at the end of the day, buy a home when it makes sense for you and understand the maintenance that comes with the home. And make sure you save your money because, again, it is expensive to buy a home because you got to put your down deposit. You got to have your closing costs. You need to also have your furnishing costs because you got to furnish the home. And you need to be able to understand when you buy a home, there's going to be roofing issues, plumbing issues, electrical issues, pool issues. There's going to be issues, sometimes even neighbor issues. And you got to be prepared. But don't be scared of owning a home because understand at the end of the day, this is a great asset that you can one day leverage. Because if you, again, I'm going to say it again, if you buy a home for $300,000, which down here, nothing like that really exists. But let's say you buy a home for $300,000 and 4 years later, that home is worth $700,000. Guess what? You could do a couple things. You could sell the home and make $400,000 cash. And it's tax free because it's your primary home and you held it for 2 to 5 years. Or you can leverage 80% of the equity in that home, what it's worth, minus your mortgage, and leverage it to invest into something. Homes are a great asset. A lot of people have created multi-million-dollar wealth portfolios because they started to invest into real estate. You're going to always hear people invest into real estate. All of you that's watching this live from IG, Facebook, YouTube, whatever the case may be, and a home is an asset. But one thing I want you guys to understand during this video is don't rush owning a home until it makes sense. But also at the same time, it's kind of counterintuitive, but it's also, you got to really think about it. Don't sit here paying rent for 10, 15 years either. That don't make no damn sense. Some of you have been renting so long, you done paid the person apartment building off. That's how long you've been renting. Some of you, that's all you know is the word rent. You love paying rent. You love giving a person your money every month and letting them enjoy that income. Because when you pay that debt, that's income in their pocket. People owning a home can save your lives. Because when you go through hard times of life, you need $50,000. Some of you know, or maybe all of you know, you ain't got too many friends you can call on that phone of them 800 contacts and borrow 50. Imagine calling some of y'all friends to borrow $50,000. Hey, John, what's going on, baby? Yeah. You know we've been friends for 12 years now. Hey, I got a little jam, man. It's a little jam. You think I could borrow $50,000? That phone call may never happen again. That person may never pick up the phone again. But when you have a home, an asset that built equity, you can leverage that home. Because some of you, it's just like you're rent. All you know how to do is rent. It's like you have mastered the art of renting homes. You have mastered the art of renting apartments. You have mastered the art of leasing cars. You do not understand the asset or the importance of owning a home. People, what are you doing? You're 40 years old, still living in where? Still living in an apartment? Some of you got reasons. I get that. And that's a rare exception. But some of you, the only reason you've been living in that apartment, because that's all you understand. Especially these grown so-called men in this world today. 40 years old, still living with their parents in an apartment. Still living in a mom's house. If you're a grown man, you live in your mom's house, that's embarrassing. If you're 40 years old, you living in your mom's house. Because I like how men like to say, oh, she live with me. No. You live in your mom's house, okay? If you live in your mom's house at 40 years old, that's embarrassing. And sometimes what that tells me, you don't own shit. You still don't own nothing at 40 years old. What have you been doing? Really think about this. What have some people been doing for 40 years? 35 years? Some people 30 years old. What have you been doing? Like, I like to really ask these questions to people. Like, people, put your comments below. Like, if you own a property, put your comments below. I want to really understand what's going on today. If you own a house, if you own a townhouse, if you own a condo, put yes below. Comment yes below if you own something other than a car. I want to know what's really going on today. Because we got people in this world renting for life, like a lifetime rental agreement. People, when are you going to start owning something? But if somebody tell you to go buy a purse, a shoe, a car, a designer bag, it's easy for you to buy it. We got my boy from Dubai. Here you go. He put yes. We got some owners in the building. We got some owners in the building. At the end of the day, people, when are you going to start owning something? What you going to rent for the rest of your life, giving away money every 30 days? Because that's all you're doing when you're renting. You're giving away money every 30 days. Because your debt is somebody's income. Your debt is somebody's asset. And the reason I do these lives, people, is to educate you, empower you, give you exposure to the reality of life. Slow down off of buying these expensive cars. Slow down off of buying these material things. Have a plan in place while you're living your life. While you're renting, if that's what you're doing. I get it. Maintenance is very expensive when you own a home because roofs will go out. Electrical issues will happen. Plumbing issues will happen. But make sure you're saving to eventually own a home in a good neighborhood. That's the key. In a good neighborhood. Don't go buy homes in bad neighborhoods. Buy a home in a good neighborhood. And then your next goal is to understand that you got to learn how to leverage that home or go buy another property. But this time you're not going to live in it. You're going to rent it out. And the reason I'm going to continuously talk about these type of topics, home buying, the negative and pros about owning a home, is because we could be going into a real aggressive recession. And I spoke to you guys weeks ago about the importance of having your credit together. Because if your credit is not together, when this market pulls back, especially the real estate market, a lot of you are going to miss out on a great opportunity to make probably $1 million or more in the next 5 years. All you got to do is be prepared. And some of you are saying you need a home, you want to buy a home. If this market pulls back, this is going to be a great time for you to buy a home that was once 500, now is back to maybe 200 or 250. Why not buy now? Why not buy when it pulls back? People, the goal of life is to be smart, making better choices, better decisions. Make sure you guys follow me on, of course, YouTube, Mentourme. I try to be on TikTok. I can't even keep up with that. But shouts out to everybody on Spotify. Shouts out to everybody on IG. I love you all. People, be great, be smart, live your life, and continuously educate yourself, invest, and understand that life is all about choices. If you want to be wealthy, that's one thing. But it's all about a choice. It's all about the choices you make every single day. Your work ethic, the people you hang around with, which is your social factors. Understanding that in life you could become whoever you want to become if you put your mind to it. Life is not always going to be easy, but decisions have to be made, especially long-term decisions that benefit you. If you've been renting for more than 5 years, you need to stop. You need to have a plan. How do you start owning something? How do you start owning an asset such as a home, such as a townhouse, such as a condo, something that is going to be yours one day? I love you all. May God bless you guys. Enjoy your afternoon. I got to get going. People, enjoy. People, make sure you understand. Keep being great. Invest in yourself. Mentourme.com. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, people. Support the movement. Make sure you get on my YouTube. Mentor Me.